Hi, my name's Paul and I'm reporting for Life, the Basic Manual. And today we're going to be talking for a few minutes about anger and how to heal or deal with anger. Everybody in our society, it seems like these days, is angry about something. And I probably wouldn't be too far off track if that you would be angry about things off and on in your life too. So let's talk about, some various ways to deal with anger in healthy, constructive ways. Okay, but before we get into that, I need to touch briefly on the ways that people often don't deal with anger and feel very maybe justified. Unfortunately, what it does a lot of the times is just perpetuates the continued feeling of anger and pressure within their body. Takes one to know one, because I've done that as well myself many times, and I know from not dealing with my anger what doesn't work, and definitely I feel like in my personal life anyway, what does work. So one of the things that doesn't work is not talking about how I feel. If somebody hurts my feelings or I get into a disagreement with somebody, having my unhealthy pride and ego getting and feeding kind of this rigid part of my personality and not talking about how I feel, not wanting to express anything that makes me look vulnerable in any way, only perpetuates this kind of feeling of being alone and hurt and maybe even feeling victimized or even confused. So for me, when I don't deal with anger ends up dealing with me, unfortunately, and so it kind of ruminates and circulates inside of my body and my mind, and I think about it, and avoiding doesn't really work for me. I need to really get down there and deal with the anger when I know I have it. So in dealing with anger in healthy ways, the first step is to be honest with myself and to recognize I have got my feelings hurt, or I'm really angry or frustrated about a certain situation. If I don't deal with that anger, I'm going to feel like a victim, and I'm going to feel lost and lonely. So being honest about my anger is really, really important. The next thing I need to do after I'm honest with my anger is to be able to express how I feel, not yelling or screaming, but to express clearly how I feel, maybe not to the person or organization or whatever that I'm angry at, but to somebody that I trust. I have a circle of guys that I really trust, that I feel good about communicating my anger to, that I know I'm not being judged. And I don't know about you, but I need people in my life that I can talk to where I'm not going to be judged. I'm going to just have people listen, and they're going to give me some suggestions or maybe challenge me, but I'm not going to be judged or put down as a result of that. I'm not going to be talking to sarcastically or made fun of or any of that stuff. I need to be around adults that treat me in healthy, respectful ways, and that's something that I expect in my life, and that's something I give to everybody in my life as well. So talking about and really sharing about how I'm angry is the next step. After that, what's important for me to do is to write about my feelings, to take a look at my pride and my ego, my level of resistance, or any kind of power or expectation that I have in my life. Why do I have this expectation of having a certain kind of power? Why do I have a certain kind of ambition that maybe is unrealistic at this point? So looking at my expectations, my desire to have power, my desire to be noticed, those are important things and can quite frankly be a lot of the times underneath the anger that I have. The other thing that I can do that I think works a lot is to answer questions specifically about my own anger. I can focus on your problems or your organization or belief system. I can gossip about you. I can tear other people down, and I've done that before, honestly, and it never gets me anywhere. I only end up feeling worse and more stuck at the end of the day. So what I've learned is that if I want to do that, I can, but there's a price to pay for it. So today, what I try and do more often is to be honest with myself about anger, to talk to somebody about how I feel regarding that anger, someone that's non-judgmental, and then to maybe answer questions that are directly related toward the anger feelings that I have. Like, did I want power in the situation? How was my pride and ego a part of the situation? Were my expectations hurt? Was a personal relationship hurt? Those are important questions questions to ask myself. And if you get any kind of like anger workbooks, you can find that they have some really constructive questions on anger. But the overall key is to look at the anger that I have inside of myself. What's going on with me that's causing me to feel anger and to continue to perpetuate those anger feelings. Look, at the end of the day, when I share my feelings and I read something positive, maybe not just questions that I answer, but I could read some inspirational, positive, uplifting information on dealing with the human spirit or my anger, I feel great. I feel relieved because I'm venting, I'm releasing the anger that has the hold of me. I think that if I do the footwork to deal with my anger, the anger actually has a life of its own, and it actually ends up releasing me from it. And then I'm able to move on and have this experience where it's like, wow, this anger had control over me, and I was kind of in this dark place. And yet I worked hard on myself at addressing the causes inside of me that were perpetuating this anger, and I was able to get through it and experience, look, I want happiness and peace on the other side of it. So today in my life, I try and deal with the anger as soon as it comes up so that I can go on and be happy and free in my life. Because that's, after all, that's how I hope you want to live that way. I know that I want to live that way. I'm Paul. I'm reporting for Life, the Basic Manual. Thanks.